Hey there, welcome to Q the Health Podcast. I'm Ashley and Martin, hostess with so much love for you listening. Q the Health is here to help you take the right action for your health, healing, and well being. Last time we talked about reconciliation rules, part two, reconnecting. Rule number three was apologizing where appropriate. Rule number four, finding freedom and forgiveness. And rule number five, deciding to reconnect or disconnect peacefully. We're going to continue with part three, renew relationships. So you've made a decision to go the next step in renewing the relationship. You want to solve for it. You want to save it. What should you do? And what are some things that you should be mindful of? So we'll look at rules number 6, 7, and 8, starting with rule number 6, rebuilding trust and resetting standards. Rebuild trust by resetting your relationship standards. Rebuilding implies that something has to be built again. It either has to reset on the right foundation completely, or if something was missing before, it needs to be included this time. Rebuilding trust is building your trust with the other party again because trust is a must in relationships. I'll say that again. Trust is a must, especially in healthy relationships. And so, what do we do? How do we do that? We take a look at the standards that we've had. We take a look at some of the principles or rules that we've lived by and walked by in a particular relationship. If you recall, rule number one, addressing what went wrong. Let's go a little deeper into this. Get to the root of what happened by looking at the what, the why, and the who if necessary. What needs to stay in place? What principles? What modes of operation? What things that have your relationship flourishing and thriving and really doing well need to stay in place? Then you want to consider what needs to be replaced. What's not good? What's not healthy? What needs just a complete overhaul? What needs to be replaced? And then finally, what enhancements or upgrades are needed? You have something steady, something solid, something really good. Where can you enhance it or upgrade it? And if you can't think of it, just enjoy it. Then we want to consider the why. Our why drives so much in life, including our relationships. Consider why you want that in your relationship, why you want that principle, why it's important. Sometimes the answer is not there immediately, but it'll be discovered throughout your relationship journey. Sometimes you are able to explain it, and sometimes you aren't. But when you do get that why, hold on to it and cherish it. And then finally, who? Who needs to be involved in the process? Never forget God. Never forget God. So stay prayerful always. But what counselor? What advisor? What loved one? What friend? What good voice of reason do you need that's going to help you rebuild trust and reset a standard? And you want to recall rule number 4, finding freedom in forgiveness. Forgive again where needed and forgive as often as needed. Remember, forgiveness frees. It can free you emotionally, relationally, socially, but also physically and spiritually. And sometimes it's needed throughout the process of you rebuilding your trust in your renewed relationship. So you want to forgive again as often as possible, which leads us to rule number 7, something that'll help you in the resetting and in the forgiveness. Clarifying boundaries and respecting them. Boundaries are meant to keep us safe and not to restrict us. Even the guardrails and even the markers that are on the lanes and the highways and the streets that we drive are there, and they're meant to keep us safe and not to restrict us. They're there to help us stay within a particular safe zone. And in certain situations, safety is extremely necessary. In renewed relationships, it's important to clarify those boundaries where necessary, and equally as important to respect those boundaries. Why? Because it says a lot. It says a lot and it conveys a lot. When you respect someone's boundaries, it says you respect them as an individual and as a person. You respect your relationship. For some, it says you love them. For others, it communicates your understanding, which can be a love language within itself. It means a lot and it says a lot. So you want to remember to clarify your boundaries, and then you want to respect those boundaries and adjust the boundaries if needed. Have that conversation, but make sure that you are very clear as to what your boundaries are, and make sure that you are enforcing them or reinforcing them with respect and with love. And then finally, rule number 8, embracing the new and enjoying the journey. So you're at that point in your renewed relationship or in your process of renewing your relationship where you've addressed the wrongs. You are aware of your relationship rights. You have apologized or received an apology. You have forgiven or received forgiveness. You have made a decision on whether or not you're going to continue the relationship or you're going to disconnect peacefully. You've rebuilt trust and you're setting those standards and boundaries. And now it's time to actually walk out what this new relationship looks like. Here are some things to consider. One, try not to make the same mistakes again that got you all in an interesting place before. You want to try not to make the same mistakes again. And you equally want to leave room for grace, coupled with accountability where necessary. Leave room for grace, leave room for mercy, but also leave room for accountability where necessary. It'll help curtail some mistakes or, anything wrong thing happening in the future. Next, consider seeking to appreciate the good. Look for the good. Look for the gold, not necessarily the dirt. Look for the gold. Look for the good. That doesn't mean dismiss the dirt, right? Because dirt does need to be cleaned up. But look for the good and look for the gold and celebrate the good and the gold. And look for the new. It's a renewed relationship. You want to look for the new. And finally, you want to enjoy and truly learn to value the other party. Learn and value the other party and allow them to value you. Sometimes there's some of us, we are very good at giving, but that receiving is a challenge for some people. You want to be able to give, but also to receive as well. Let other people get their blessing as well. No man is an island. Our relationships matter and impact our lives in so many ways. Healthy relationships are the best ones and should have the most positive impact in our lives and on our lives. It may seem far fetched for some, but it is possible to obtain and keep and maintain healthy relationships. If you want something renewed or rekindled, give a few of these rules a try. And if you know someone who could benefit from hearing and putting the rules to use, please share it with them. Share this with them. And if you'd like to share something that's worked for you, or if you have a comment, if you have a question, don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. Until next time.